Alright guys, hey, it's the Big Dog here from Old School Smoked Meats. Sticking with our getting back to the basics theme like we always do. We're going to make sourdough starter. I'm going to carry this all the way through. So I'm going to try to make one video that has all the different days so you'll kind of know what to see. Never done this before. I've seen it done. Went on Amazon and found from Oscar's Bakery kind of a thing that gives you a little bit of to help with it. You can see it comes with a thermometer or a temperature on the side. It's very important to be in the just right temperature range. Very nice setup, actually. I've got a scale here. I've got some flour. Now, I'm going to try to do it with all white flour because I've heard a lot of people doing that. It takes a little bit longer for it to, I think it's going to take a little bit longer for it to ferment, maybe an extra day or two. A lot of the instructions and stuff will say use rye or wheat and use a 50-50 on the very first day, and then you can go full white flour. This is unbleached all-purpose white flour, King Arthur Baking Company. Everybody says they're really good. Whatever you like, you know how it goes. But the big thing is we're baking now. So when you go to baking, it's different than like when we're doing our rubs and doing our normal cooking where you kind of just go to taste. Baking is a very specific. If you do not, excuse me, if you do not be very particular with your measurements, which is why I have a scale, you will completely screw it up. I mean, I have baked stuff and, you know, I got, when I first started baking anything at all, I would kind of wing some stuff and yeah, it always fell flat, tasted horrible, you know, so we're going to try to follow this. I haven't done this before, so I wanted you guys to go with me on this journey. Like I said, I'll put a link to this. So if you guys want to try to find it, but it looks pretty nice. I mean, it makes it simple. Comes with some instructions. It's got a spot where you can like write on it. It has the lids that go over it, you know, as this thing, you know, as you start putting them on day one and as it grows. It also has a rubber band tape for you to you know, mark your how high, because this thing's going to be growing as you go, and it has time measurements and stuff on it. So we'll fight through that. Like I said, I haven't done this before, and it comes with a little paddle. But the biggest thing is, if nothing else, we have to go straight up with, we've got to get this thing to be again, we have to get it to be exact science when you're doing baking. So if we're going to use 100 grams of flour, then we have to use 100 grams of water. And, you know, flour and water, you know, you can't just use a cup and a cup unless that's what the recipe calls for, because things weigh differently. So without further ado, let's get started down this journey. One big thing I like about a scale, and I haven't been as big on this scale. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this scale, but I like one that stays on longer. I've used this one quite often, and it kind of turns off fast, and I don't like that. So we're going to start off. I'm going to put 1 cup of flour. Try to go with 100 grams of flour, which you can see it's set on ounces, so I'm going to take it to grams. And whatever flour I use, I'm going to put that exact amount of water. And I've heard people, you know, like use a cup and a little bit less than a cup. So I've got 105 grams of flour in there right now. So we're going to put another 105 grams of water. This is filtered water. Everything said use filtered water or spring water. Don't go straight from the tap, and you want it to be as close to room temperature as possible. So what I have is I have a filtered water pitcher that I poured out of at room temperature. So we're going to go ahead and start. So this should go to 210, and right out of the gate, I went to 230, which means I went 20 ounces over on my, water because I was talking, which was really not real smart. So if I went 20 ounces, or if I went, was that 24 ounces over, I've got to put 24 ounces more of this in it, and you just see it went off. That's why I don't like this very well, because now that I've tiered it, I need to put 24 ounces of flour in it. They said this is why I'm not a big fan of this scale, because it really chaps me off, because it goes off before I can get any. There's 22. There's my 24 ounces. So we've got that. We're going to stir it up. And it should become like a little slur in here. And you see, like I said, guys, this is new to me. We're going to take this. Now, Ben's girlfriend made this. Made me up some sourdough, and I kind of messed around with it based on some recipes on TikTok. But I hadn't done it from scratch. But as we go, I did learn a few things on making some pizza crust and things like that and how to, and you know what I found is when people put stuff on TikTok, a lot of them will have been doing stuff for so long, they don't do a good job they'll leave stuff out. Now you'll see, I'm really stirring this up good to get it started. All right. And I used a little spatula that came with it. I'm going to flatten it out as best we can. So there you go. It's flattened out. I hope you can see that okay. Yeah, it looks like you can. So I flattened it out. We'll set that here. I put the parchment paper down not for any reason other than I thought it would be easier for us to see. Now, I'm going to put the band on it next. I'm going to take it down to the top of this where we can see. So you can see the band. So what you should see as we go through this, it should raise up, and then we'll have to pour some off, which is called discard. And we'll have to do that until we get a good fermentation and it starts bubbling. But we're going to try this, see how it goes, and every day I'll put an update. I'm going to do I'm going to do one video at the end of it all. We'll put my top over it, and then you just set it back. But yeah, I'm going to hit this every day because I want to see, to get, so that for people like us who really haven't done this before, I want you to see us walk through it and try to tell you what I found that causes me problems. Like the scale. Like maybe this won't work and we'll have to throw it away and start over again. You know what? That's how this works. So we'll do that. I'm also, the last thing I'm going to do, because it comes with it, is I'm going to put the date on this so I know what day I started, which is kind of cool. So I'll put 2/28. It's 5:10 in the evening. It's 5:10 p.m. And tomorrow, on March the 1st, we will check it and see if it's raised or not. Alrighty guys, we're on day 2 of our sourdough starter. You can see it has grown some. Take the little top off there. The wooden top that come with it that I showed you yesterday, it's for if you put it in the refrigerator to store it. See if I can get a good view there. We are seeing some bubbling. Basically what you do is you take half of what we put in yesterday, which was about 200 grams. We take 100 grams out and dispose of it. Just gets thrown away. Then we put 50 flour and 50 water back into the mix. And this is just regular flour. So if you did do a 50-50 mix at the first one, then, well, from here forward, you just go with your white flour. Unless you're making some kind of special sourdough. And we look at our temperature here. The temperature's right in the right range where we want to be. Now, we know this is 430 grams of total. So, reset this scale. You know I'm not a big fan of this scale, but it's what we got today. So, but which one thing I do like about this, it says I've got 430 grams of in the glass, right? 670 grams total is where we're at. So we need to drop this from 670 to down to roughly 570 to take 100 grams out, then put the other back in, stir it up, put the top back on, go for another 24 hours. So right now it looks like it's doing what it's supposed to do. I'm just going to take the little scraper and start scraping some of this out. I don't know if it really means a whole lot if you get a whole bunch of it out, if you go over, because you're still going to be adding back to it. So So we need to get this thing down to about 570. Ooh, this is pretty stiff coming out here. I'm going to use this thing here to do it. We're down to 620. 599. $578. Just a hair hit more. And we're going to leave it at about 573. I don't think it has to be that overall precise. So you can see all I did was pull it out. I'm going to dump the new flour back in. Dump the water in. Go back in with the little stirring cup. Like I said, we're still doing this first time. And we're going to stir it up real good. Put the lid back on it. And then at about 5 o'clock tomorrow, 5:10, I'll show you what this looks like before I put the lid back on it. And this will be our everyday thing. Yeah, I'm going to smooth it out a little bit. You can see it's still growing, so I'm assuming it's doing what it's supposed to do. You can see the amount of discard I took off. Hopefully, we'll set it right there on the scale. You can see I just put it in there and stirred it back up. We're going to put the little bonnet back on it, or I call it a bonnet, and then go from there. Now, each day, like I said, I'm following the recipe that came right straight with the thing. So each day we do the same process. You take 50, 100 total out, and then you put it back in. 100 out, put it back in. You keep doing the same thing each day until you get there. And then it should continue to go as it's supposed to go. All right, hey guys, it's day 3. Again, got to taking a look at it. We do have some bubble going in here. Let's look in the inside. So it looks like it's doing, I can smell it. It looks like it's doing the right thing. We did not grow as much as I thought last night because it was a little cooler in the kitchen than what it had been. Got cold last night and we didn't have enough heat on. We're going to do the same thing. I have to take this down to 100 grams and then put 100 grams of water and 100 grams of flour back in it. So I'm going to do that. Same thing as I did yesterday. We're not going to show it every day. And then you keep doing that and it should grow as this thing continues to ferment and do its thing. But if you can see inside there, it has grown some. You can also see the bubbles, and that's what we're looking for. All right, so this is what it looks like after I've taken back down to 100 grams, which is a whole lot more than we took out yesterday. There's what it looks like after I put the 200 grams in and mixed it back out. So we'll redo our tape on the outside, put our cloth back on, and we'll let it sit for another 24 hours. All right, guys, we are on day 4. We're going to see what we got here. You can see you got a nice bubble. You got the sour smell to it. So looks like it's working exactly how we want it to. Again, we do the same thing. You dump off the discard, and we'll add 100 grams of water, 100 grams of flour back in there again. This is up to 726, which means it grew more, 430. So we're going to have to take some out to take it back down to 530, and then we'll go back up again. So we're just going to do that, and then I'm going to check my research, but I think it's getting pretty close to do the test to see if it's ready or not. So we may do that tomorrow. If not, we will do it the following day. Alrighty, guys, day 5. Got a lot of bubbles in it. And it's rising, basically doing what it's supposed to do. I think tomorrow we'll do a water test so you can see if it floats, then it will, then we'll be ready to do a trial and use it and make something out of it. Again, we got to drop it down to 100 grams, and then we add 100 grams of water and 100 grams of flour. be doing that. And we'll check it out tomorrow with float. All right, guys, day 6. So you can see the bubbles in there. It's rising properly. So we're going to do the float test here, which basically I've got a bowl of water sitting here, and we're going to grab a scoop, take some of it, drop it right in there, and see if it'll actually float, which is what it should do, and then it'll, before it actually falls. But let's try it and see if it's going to float. All right, it doesn't take much to see if it's going to float. I'm going to just grab a little bit in here. You can use a spoon if you want. As you can see, I didn't get very much, just enough to try it. Let's see if I can get it to drop in there on top of the water. Okay, so we actually sunk. So if we're sinking, then it's not quite ready yet. So we're gonna have to let it go. I think it's because I've been having problems. It's cooler right now, so the temperature's probably holding me off. So tried it, didn't work. So we're gonna have to just do what we've been doing, where we do the starter again, and where we take it back down to 100 grams. We're gonna add 100 grams of flour, 100 grams of water, stir it up, and we'll try the float test again tomorrow. All right, I'm 12 days into the starter. Replacing it 1:1 ratio every day. And you can see I've really got a good bubble on it. It's thinned up a lot more from where it was earlier. I want to do the test again, see where we're at. So we're going to try the test here. Basically, we're going to take a scoop, drop it in water to see if it floats. But you can see a noticeable difference. It's a little thinner. You see a noticeable difference in what we're doing. So let's see what we got here. And yes, it is floating. So that tells me that we have a good starter. We are ready to rock and roll, and we're ready to start making bread with this. So it is Wednesday, so I'm planning on making bread Saturday because it's supposed to rain a bunch here. So it'll be a good day for me to be inside making bread. And then we'll show you some other recipes as well as we go. So just keep on watching. All right, guys, you get the big dog here. Just going to do a little follow-up as a closing caption for the whole sourdough discard making. Expect about 12 to 15 days on it to have it ready to actually be able to bake with. As far as volatility or of it, it is baking, so the closer you can keep it to the grams, the better. But it doesn't have to be to the gram. I mean, if you're 2 or 3 grams either way on something, it's not that big of a deal. It could potentially thin it up a little bit, and the longer it goes, the more, how would I say it? The more forgiving it is. One thing you need to do when you do start cooking with it is take a look at how much you're going to pull out so that you don't take it down to nothing. If you got a recipe that calls for 250 grams of discard, you make sure you have enough so you can take it out. And then that's a good time to just go ahead and start her and put the flour and water back in. And I found that the 24-hour rule, it doesn't have to be exact either. Just a few little quick notes and things like that for you. Do like the stir, the Arthur's Bakery thing. I'm still looking at how to set stuff up so I can link things in. So hopefully we'll figure that out down the road and help you guys out. But this basically discard, easy to use. You'll be able to definitely can smell it. I smell it through the whole house. I've actually had it going. It is April the 24th right now. So I've had this thing going since February 28th. I'm going to start putting recipes and stuff up as well. But it's a pretty strong starter. I've given it to, I've also taken portions of it when I went to discard and given it to people who were looking for it. So that's something else you could do with it. That way they don't have to start from scratch. And if you know somebody, or if you know me, if you hit me up, I'm more than happy to give you some discard as well. If you're close enough that if you're in this area or anybody that's back home or something like that that sees me, I'll be more than happy to give you some discard. But this was a very simple video how to do it. Everybody's stuff looks perfectly clean when you look at it on TikTok, and that's just not reality. Well, unless you're just, people are going in and cleaning and putting it in special jars and stuff like that. But let's reality situation is when you're doing it for yourself, you're gonna make it work. If you want to hold off on it, once you get a good starter, you can put that lid on it, put it in the refrigerator, and store it there. It's just when you are going to use it, you have to give it time to come up to room temperature, just like we talked about before. If it's a little cooler in your house, like mine was, it may be a little slower. It may take the full 15 days to get there. So temperature is going to have a little bit to it. They do have a lot of different recipes. Some will use less discard, but you have to let it set longer, maybe overnight. You can actually make bread same day. I've done some of that. Works pretty good, but it uses a whole lot more discard. One thing I've found is it makes a wonderful pizza dough, and I will start doing some of these, and so you can see what I do. And it's not rocket science, but you'll notice I'm very particular on the, at least when I'm following the recipe, is following the grams. Now, one thing when we'll talk about as we're actually baking is, even if you have the follow everything to the gram, you might have to add some more liquid, or you may have to add some more flour, depending on how sticky it is or how dry it is if it doesn't come together. That's one of those things that you play by ear. But it's not insurmountable. So there you go. Hopefully you like what I'm doing. I know this is a long video compared to some of the other ones, but you know, it's something I'd never done before, and I wanted to get something comprehensive so that us guys that's never done it before, you want to see it, and you don't want somebody that rushes through it or acts like everything that you're going to mess it up. It's not that big of a deal. If you do mess it up, you could always throw it out. But as long as you, what I found is, as long as you do consistent with it, you don't have any issues with it. So if you like what I'm doing, hit the like, subscribe button, and hopefully you like it. And if you got something in particular you want me to bake, throw it out there. I'm up for anything. Just let me know where the recipe's at. I will say this: King Arthur has some good recipes on it. You can go online, even some of the TikTok stuff. The recipes I found on TikTok a lot of times are, they're okay, but sometimes they leave stuff out or you can't get to them. So you're probably better off if you find something on TikTok, go ahead and attach and go into their actual. Most of them have a website or something like that where the actual full recipe is itself, so you can follow that. But we'll do some of that as we go. I'll show you what I do and tell you where I get it at, so that you can make something similar. Outside of that, I'm out of here. We all know how to do a sourdough discard. If you got any questions, hit me up like always.